Surely never act wild, very low key on the profile. Catching feelings is a no. Let me tell you how it goes. Curves the word, spins the verb. Loving it cause so freak what you heard. Rolling with the flatness, you never quite know what that path is. You got to pay to play, just for shorty bang bang to look your way. I like the way you work it, top notch, trump tight every day. You're blowing my mind, baby, in time. Maybe I can get you in my ride. I like the way you work it, no diggity. Just bag it up now. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I'm about to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I'm about to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I'm about to bag it up.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moritz. Today we have gathered here to commemorate Gian Franco Kasper, the husband, the father and grandfather, the sportsman and friend, the Secretary General, President and Honorary President of the International Ski Federation FIS, the member of the International Olympic Committee, the citizen of St. Moritz. It is my honor to welcome you in the name of Gian Franco Kasper's family and the International Ski Federation FIS. We are delighted to welcome so many of you here in the St. Moritz Ski Stadium, and also the many thousands of you who are following the internet live stream or a recording of it around the world. It is no coincidence that we came together here in Salastrains on the Corviglia mountain above St. Moritz. This is the very place where Gian Franco Kasper will have skied for the very first time. This is the place where the St. Moritz Ski School has been introducing children and adults to skiing since 1929. Here, at this special place, we are joined by friends and colleagues of Gian Franco Kasper and by his son Gian, who is here with his family today. As a true sportsman, as an official, executing his duties in FIS and the IOC, Gian Franco Kasper had a profound influence on the development of skiing, snow sports, and sports in general around the world, and here in his native country, Switzerland. It is my pleasure to welcome the official representative of the Swiss government, a man who has been a colleague and friend for many years to Gian Franco Kasper, Mr. Matthias Remund, Director of the Swiss Federal Office of Sports.
Members of the briefed family, representative of the International Ski Federation, friends of skiing and snow sports. It's winter, we have snow. We can watch how the world's best athletes measure up in the Super-G, and we are in St. Moritz. There is no better setting to remember a man who devoted his life to skiing and the FIS, and who remained firmly rooted in the Engadine throughout his life. A little less than 6 months ago, we received the news that Gian Franco Kasper had passed away. I think most of us reacted in the same way, pausing immediately and seeing an image of Gian Franco, remembering shared experiences and feeling the gap he left behind. My deepest condolences to his family. It would not be wrong to say that Gian Franco Kasper was one of the most influential sports officials Switzerland has ever had. Or more accurately, that he was probably the most powerful winter sports official over a long period. Kasper shaped the International Ski Federations for decades. He was a member and later honorary member of the International Olympic Committee. He was active in other influential committees and bodies, where he provided impetus, always with the benefit for winter sport in mind, whose professionalization and modernization he encouraged right from the start of his presidency. He moved seamlessly from the role of FIS General Secretary to that of President, taking the life's work of his predecessor, Mark Hodler, forward into a new era. I would run far over my allotted time if I were to mention all the roles Gian Franco Kasper held during his long FIS career. So instead, let's talk a little about Gian Franco himself. Three qualities are always mentioned that shaped him and his actions and were also how I experienced him to be personally. First, he was really a skilled networker. It's clear that anyone who can hold the most important roles in an international association over such a long period is doing a lot of things right. Kasper was sophisticated and incredibly well networked. He pulled the most important strings. This included focusing on his people, who he helped and when he could, and never casting anyone aside. In doing so, he created a solid social foundation throughout the FIS. Not once did anyone stand against him on his re-election. Gian Franco also managed to stay free of accusations of corruption or other scandals throughout his career, which is something that cannot be taken for granted at the top of a global sports association. Second, Gian Franco was a gifted communicator. He traveled to countries around the world, making eloquent use of several languages. He sold skiing, he sold Switzerland. He had learned a great deal from his father, the former director of tourism for St. Moritz. Unlike typical salesmen, however, Gian Franco didn't consider the possible impact of what he said in advance. So he noticed it all the more when he went too far. This happened when he impulsively and bluntly spoke his mind where others would have prudently held their tongues. He was sometimes disarmingly open, which could also rub people up the wrong way. A third often mentioned quality attributed to Kasper is that he was always down-to-earth inhabitant of the mountains, despite his position and influence. He remained firmly rooted in his own town throughout his life. Gian Franco Kasper was first and foremost a resident of St. Moritz, then the Engadine, and then Switzerland. And he had a will of his own. There is a saying about his management philosophy. Gian Franco is rumored to have said, "Do it however you want to, but I want it this way." You could dismiss such things as an expression of certain hubris, but this was not the case with Gian Franco Kasper. He did and said what he believed to be right, always did so directly, and he could afford to do so. A newspaper, very famous in Switzerland, once fittingly wrote that Kasper had no reason to put on airs or see himself as important. He was important. Networker, communicator, down to earth. Of course, everyone has more than three qualities, and yet I believe that these three come very close to summing up Gian Franco Kasper, or at least the person we met in the world of sports. It was also these types of qualities that gave Kasper access behind the scenes, allegedly to the smokers on the IOC, to get the Graubünden 22 Olympic candidacy in St. Moritz and Davos off the ground. His dream of bringing the Winter Olympics to his home valley then came to a sudden end with the vote of the canton of Graubünden in March 2013. The Federal Council, the government and the parliament of the canton of Graubünden supported Kasper, but the people voted against him by a narrow margin, which really hurt him. This was the end of a big dream for him and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Gian Franco Kasper for everything he did for skiing and snow sports, for everything he did for our country and its long tradition of winter sports. I would like to thank him personally for the hours we spent together. He was an asset to St. Moritz, Graubünden, and Switzerland, and it was an honor for me to know him. I and I'm sure the entire skiing and snow sports world will cherish fond memories of Gian Franco Kasper.
Thank you. There were many important days in the life of Gian Franco Kasper. The day he skied for the very first time. The day he met his wife, Heidi. The day Heidi gave birth to their son and only child. And the days his two grandchildren were born. Family meant the world to Gian Franco Kasper. Let us listen to his son, Gian Kasper.
My father was born up here in St. Moritz some 77 years ago as the son of the tourist director of St. Moritz. And no surprise, he was exposed from his early years to all kinds of activities up here. He was not only skiing, but only cross-country skiing, ski jumping, sledging, bobsleighing, polo playing on ice and everything. So this is the passion that he got probably from his family and that he also passed on to me. It's very memorable to stand here and see where he was born.
Gian Franco Kasper did not only serve FIS for 46 years. In the year 2000, he was elected to the International Olympic Committee, IOC, and later served as a member of the executive board of the IOC. In 2003, he was elected to the executive board of the World Anti-Doping Agency, and in 2014, he became the president of the Association of International Winter Sports Federations. Here is the message of Thomas Bach, president of the IOC.
Dear family and friends of Gian Franco Kasper, it is no exaggeration to say that Gian Franco was the personification of ski sport. We all knew him as a man of the mountains, deeply rooted in his native Engadin. Gathering in his beloved hometown of St. Moritz today, so close to the ski slopes, is really the best way to commemorate the life of Gian Franco. Because this is what he was all about. His passion for winter sport and his love for the mountains. At least for me, it was this alpine connection that made him such a genuine character. Like the mountains, he was always authentic, honest, like solid rock, rugged and yet dependable, because of their permanence. He sometimes liked to refer to himself as a mountain farmer. It may be the best description of how he saw life and how he lived his life. Like a mountain farmer, he was hardworking, quietly proud of his honest work, but never one who felt the need to show off with his achievements. We could always rely on Gian Franco to give you his honest opinion. And after the matter was debated and settled, he would never hold a grudge. This is how I got to know him as a member of the IOC Executive Board. Gian Franco did not need to raise his voice to make himself heard. He commanded respect through his authenticity. When it came to his passion, developing ski and winter sport, he was always open for constructive dialogue and cooperation. This was how he oversaw a period of extraordinary growth of skiing and winter sport as a whole. He did so both in his capacities at FIS and at the Association of International Olympic Winter Sports Federations. He was both visionary and realistic on what particular sports needed for their development. He brought in new disciplines to the Olympic program. He pushed for the development of mixed events, and he played an essential role in developing the wide-ranging reforms for allocating Olympic Winter Games. Realistic, ambitious, authentic. This is the Gian Franco that we all knew and appreciated so much. We are all grateful and privileged to have had him among us. As we bid farewell to our dear mountain farmer, let us also celebrate Gian Franco's life and his legacy. Let us celebrate his passion for winter sport and his love for the mountains, because that is what he would want us to do. Rest in peace, dear friend Gian Franco.
local ski club Alpina St. Moritz, of which Gian Franco Kasper was a member throughout his life and made an honorary member, has organized countless competitions in alpine skiing, ski jumping, Nordic combination, cross-country skiing, freestyle and snowboard. The club has also trained countless young talents. Some of them became world-class athletes in their disciplines. All of them experienced sport at its best, sport as a school for life. Young talents are the future of this sport. They will one day become the ambassadors of skiing and snow sports. It is therefore a great pleasure to welcome some of the junior athletes in alpine skiing and freestyle of the ski club Alpina St. Moritz. Thank you for being here. Danke, dass ihr da sind für euren Clubkamerad Gian Franco Kasper.
No surprise, my father was already in his young years voluntary to almost every event up here in St. Moritz. In 1974, he was the head of the media office of the Ski World Championships here in St. Moritz. His heart really belonged to all the sporting events up here. Together with his father, he introduced the polo on ice to St. Moritz town. And he was also working as an ambulance driver for the Clinic Gut up here in St. Moritz. So he was really exposed to all the risks and challenges you could take up here in St. Moritz. He once had lost the bet and jumped down the ski jumping hill with cross-country skis, resulting in 2 broken legs, obviously. This is the spirit he had all throughout his life and what always made him go beyond, and he later became the Director General of the International Ski Federation. He became an IOC member, the president of the World Anti-Doping Association, and of many other associations that I don't even know the name of.
Kom Bernhard. Kom Bernhard. Personal friends describe Gian Franco Kasper as an open-minded, reliable and very faithful person. We are happy to have one of his longtime friends and allies with us, Bernhard Russi, downhill Olympic champion and world champion, member of the FIS Alpine Committee for many years. Welcome to St. Moritz, Bernhard. You knew Gian Franco Kasper almost 50 years. You first met at the World Championships 1974 here in St. Moritz. How did your relationship begin?
First of all, with an advice, which is absolutely normal for Gian Franco Kasper. By the opening ceremony in 1974, he came to me and said, good luck, but do not concentrate too much to the downhill because it will be postponed. That was 14 days before we had the downhill.
In the 70s, you were one of the very big names, the champions of this sport in downhill, but you also were the voice of the athletes. You were advocating for them, you were standing up for their ideas and their rights. How did Gian Franco receive that? What did he make of it? I imagine that your ideas were not always the same as the ideas of the associations.
We, and if I say we, I mean all the athletes, all the coaches, all the trainers, they realized immediately when Gian Franco made his way up to secretary of the FIS and so on, that he was not only a function in a huge sports federation, that he, in the base, first of all, he was a real sportsman. And not only a sportsman, he had a sport heart. He was listening to everybody. He was listening to any problem. And the good thing is he understood, when you started talking to him, he understood immediately what you're going to say. He didn't accept everything, of course, because he knew the advantages and the disadvantages. And a very important thing he told me when we came up with new ideas, with statistics, with figures. He told me, listen, never believe to any statistic which you have done yourself.
Your partner in sports became a friend. How would you describe your friendship, your relationship?
A very intimate friendship, intimate so far than when I got a phone call with unknown, I knew exactly that is Gian Franco. And that's how it happened. His phone was always acceptable. We could call him at any time for any reason, for any problem at all. So did he. And we had many under four eyes discussion where new ideas has been placed, problems has been faced. And at the end, he always said, let's do a quiet evolution with our sport and not start doing revolutions. That means that, I would like to say it like this, that Gian Franco was, first of all, a sportsman, and he tried to guide the sport, and in the second part, he was the businessman.
What kind of a person, a character, a friend was he to you?
Open-minded. He had no fear to come out with the truth, what maybe everybody around was thinking, but nobody said it. He had the courage to say things which were true. And he hated the lies. He hated all the discussions and even the speeches with the good words like we are doing here. I think if he could interfere, he would say, now stop and let's have a Coca-Cola and take a cigarette and rest and have peaceful afternoon.
Okay, final question then. When you close your eyes now and think of Gian Franco Kasper, what is the image you see spontaneously?
If I close my eyes right now, I see him standing up there, outside of the stadium, outside of the crowd, not being in the middle, in a snowstorm, probably no hat on. I've never seen him with a hat, probably, but maybe his jacket up, smiling, laughing, being happy, and probably having a cigarette between his fingers.
Thank you very much, Bernard Russi.
As you can imagine, my father had many friends in sports and particularly in skiing. But personal friends, he only had a handful. The reason for that being that he was so occupied with all his sporting functions And he had only one very big interest apart from sports in life, and that was family. He was not only the best father, but also presumably the best grandfather you can imagine. There was hardly a day in my life where we didn't talk on the phone, and ever since video calls have been invented, every day I had to send him pictures or show him videos of our granddaughters and our dog, of course. It was until his last heartbeat that he upheld all family values very high, and his heart was beating for family and for the town of St. Moritz and the mountains and his beloved ski sport.
Skiing and snow sports were both the passion and the profession of Gian Franco Kasper. He served his local ski club Alpina at countless competitions and for more than 4 decades in the International Ski Federation FIS. Here is his successor as the FIS president. Welcome to St. Moritz, Johan Elias.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I stand before you with the huge task of trying to squeeze the enormous legacy of Gian Franco Kasper into a short speech. Not easy, but I will try. Gian Franco was not just a colleague. He was a mentor, a leader, and above all, a loyal friend. He was also a larger-than-life character. From his signature red corduroy pants, white jacket, and ever-present cigarette, he was indeed a one-of-a-kind Marlboro man. The FIS and IOC families became Gian Franco's life. He spent 46 years guiding and shaping FIS and always working tirelessly to ensure our events would capture the world's imagination. The FIS, and I dare say all winter sports, is what it is today thanks to Gian Franco. Now, anyone who knew Gian Franco would agree that he was quick to recognize the importance of the World Championships, the World Cup, and the Olympics, and the importance that would play on keeping the entire skiing industry healthy and strong, and that FIS events would have a positive impact on the entire winter tourism industry. He always said the health and success of FIS could be measured by one target, and that is if the next generation takes up skiing. Now, 46 years as a sport official is not just a long time. It's a very long time. And through every one of those years, Gian Franco never changed his values. He was always approachable. Anyone at any event always knew if they needed to speak with Gian Franco, he could be found outside on a terrace, keeping an eye on the race, away from the limelight. And whenever anyone would approach him on that terrace, he would always be open, honest, and with his quick wit and great sense of humor and spot-on analysis of any situation. He didn't sugarcoat any issue, and he would be straight to the point. In fact, Gian Franco, he only got into trouble when he spoke the truth. And that was also something most journalists knew, generating many headlines, sometimes grey hairs, for the FIS PR department. Now, my first meeting with Gian Franco, which took place at the FIS headquarters in Oberhofen, I will never forget. It was 25 years ago, and when I walked into Gian Franco's office, it was shrouded in smoke. I literally couldn't see a thing. And across the room, I heard a cough, then a voice, "Turn right." I turned right, but I could still not see him. It was that filled with smoke. Eventually, I located him, and we had a great meeting. And when the meeting had finished, approximately 1 pack of cigarettes later, I stood up, tried to find the door, tripped over most of the things in the office, and eventually found my way out. And little did I know as I was departing that 25 years later, that same man would be responsible for turning my life upside down, having suggested it was a good idea I should run for the FIS presidency. Now, over the years, Gian Franco and I would always arrange to meet when we were both at the same event. We would exchange many ideas and naturally many stories. He was a great storyteller with a quick-witted, great sense of humor, and he was sometimes opinionated about the issues, but he always had a point, and it was always entertaining and very much enlightening to hear his views. And not many people actually realize how creative Gian Franco was, and all the phenomenal things that he did. But he was a very discreet and very quiet character, and he was not quick to claim credit for his many great initiatives. And since I'm sharing a few insider secrets, not many people also know that Gian Franco was a great water skier, and may even have been his preferred kind of ski. And also, he attended every Olympic Winter Games since 1948. And that's probably something for the Guinness Book of Records. So, yes, FIS was not just a job for him. It was his passion. It was not an organization. It was like his family. Now, I was fortunate enough to see Gian Franco in the hospital after my election. And he was then recovering and in very good spirits. And of course, he cursed the fact that he couldn't smoke in the hospital and couldn't wait to get out. And we had a great conversation about all the things we were going to do in the transition and how he was looking forward to guiding me through the start of my presidency. And something we both knew we would have fun doing together. Now, even in that hospital setting, he was still larger than life and showed the kindness and generosity of a true friend. A true friend who was ready to step in and help in any way. Now, Gian Franco left a long-lasting impact on so many people around us. His legacy will never be forgotten, and I, together with the entire FIS family, have made it our duty to carry on that legacy and ensure that winter sports continue to thrive, prosper, and grow, just the way Gian Franco would like it. So now I say to Gian Franco, your FIS family, your entire ski family misses you and thanks you for everything you did for all those years. And we will be eternally grateful, and we sincerely hope that you found the perfect terrace where you can watch and smile at us all from afar. Gian Franco, rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go to the Johann Elias. We are now joined by Gian Franco's son and his family, Gian Franco Kasper and his wife Isa, with their two daughters, Florina and Valentina. Together, we pay tribute to a citizen of St. Moritz, member of the International Olympic Committee, Secretary General, President and Honorary President of the International Ski Federation, FIS. Sportsman and friend, husband, father and grandfather. We pay tribute to Gian Franco Kasper. Thank you.
Skin through the heartache, gonna slay all my giants down, gonna move like an earthquake, can't stop till I hit the ground. Oh, I'm running full speed, they're gunning but they'll never catch me, 'cause these dreams don't sleep. I will rise like a new sun, 'cause I know there will come a day. This is the moment, get what's mine, 'cause this is my time, gonna light it up one day. This is the moment, I'm gonna rise, 'cause this is the moment. But if you close your eyes,
The elected organizer is Spain Beaverton.
at all, and if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before?
I wish everybody a very good winter season, which will start in a few days for now. A lot of snow and of course a lot of fun on your skis.
Is it just me, or do you ever feel like time just flies? Is it just me, or do you ever feel the years go by? I've never been good at saying goodbye, so I'ma let the memories get me by. Is it just me, or do you put the same scenes on rewind? Rewind, 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 rewind. Is it just me, or do you put the same scenes on rewind? Rewind.
We can say after 50 years that this is the most prestigious and the most honest competition in alpine skiing.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and I'm feeling good.
She's taking it down!
goal. Unbelievable scenes.
What can I say? Thank you, Gian Franco. For me and for the entire world of sports, you are the personification of modern ski sport. Your achievements are going far beyond of your own sport, your federation. With all the reforms and adaptations in the past years under your leadership, you have also changed the Olympic Winter Games. And in all of this, you have always been yourself. Very authentic. For some, maybe sometimes even too authentic. But nothing is more successful than success. And we all have greatly benefited from your success. So thank you and chapeau, my dear friend Gian Franco.
President of the International Ski Federation, Gian Franco Kasper.
Dear ski fans, the time has come to say thank you.
Thank you, dear guests here in St. Moritz. The family of Gian Franco Kasper and FIS would like to thank Swiss Television, SRF for the production of this event, FIS Ski World St. Moritz, FIS Ski World Cup St. Moritz for the support in organizing everything, the Ski Club Alpina St. Moritz and the junior athletes present here, danke vielmals, Swiss Timing and the town of St. Moritz. Please remember to follow the COVID rules, keep your distances and please wear your masks at all times. Shuttle buses to St. Moritz will leave where they dropped you off earlier. FIS and Gian Franco Kasper's family will now invite you to the tent. Due to the COVID restrictions, we can only accommodate the persons who have been invited by FIS and the family. We kindly ask you for your understanding for this measure. Liebe Gäste hier in St. Moritz, herzlichen Dank, dass Sie hier waren. Ich danke Ihnen im Namen der Familie von Gian Franco Kasper und der FIS. Bitte befolgen Sie weiterhin die Covid-Regeln, halten Sie Abstand und tragen Sie weiter Ihre Gesichtsmaske. FIS und die Familie von Gian Franco Kasper laden Sie nun ein ins Zelt. Wegen der Covid-Bestimmungen dürfen leider nur diejenigen unter Ihnen ins Zelt eingelassen werden, die eine Einladung von FIS oder von der Familie bekommen haben. Die Kapazität im Zelt ist leider beschränkt. Wir bitten Sie um Verständnis für diese zwingende Maßnahme. Shuttlebusse nach St. Moritz fahren vom Eingang ins Gelände, dort wo Sie angekommen sind. Ganz herzlichen Dank, kommen Sie gut nach Hause, au revoir und auf Wiedersehen. Ich hoffe, Sie sind nicht vor und danke vielmals.